Yo, listen up, here's the story about a little guy that lives in a blue world.
Where's my music? Where's my music? No. Why is it getting louder? What's going on?
I reminisce about the day I got robbed. I ain't ashamed to say I got robbed. It's a beautiful day, someone gon' get robbed. They ride around looking for people to rob. I reminisce about the day I got robbed. I ain't ashamed to say I got robbed. It's a beautiful day, someone gon' get robbed. They ride around looking for people to rob.
DeAndre Baker, what the actual fuck are you doing? Late last week, news breaks that 2019 first round pick DeAndre Baker finds himself in some hot water. Now bear in mind, I'm not a reporter for the Daily Bugle, but it is a shock, I know. Unbelievable if you haven't been following, or if you've been living under a rock. DeAndre Baker's been a bit of a mess. The kid that was poised for a breakout in 2020, next to James Bradbury. Good Lord. So the understanding of the incident that took place was this. Now, there's no intro, nothing fancy today. We're not getting into that. DeAndre Baker's at a barbecue. Something goes wrong. 3 people. DeAndre Baker and Seahawk Quinton Dunbar. They're name-causing issues right now. Now, DeAndre Baker is waving a semi-automatic and orders the other 2 guys with him to rob the guests. That also includes insinuation, please bear in mind, a man that's wearing a red mask. DeAndre Baker orders people to steal cash, valuables worth tens of thousands of dollars, and they leave in 3 separate getaway cars parked facing the right way to escape. Witnesses sign a police affidavit. Police calls it a premeditated hit and puts a warrant out for DeAndre Baker and company. Now, DeAndre Baker now turns himself in after, and a day or so passes, and he pays a $200,000 bond, and oh my God, the bond is actually worth more than the actual takings of what they helped rob people with. God damn it. What in the actual hell is wrong with you? 21 years old? The world is your oyster, professional athlete in the big city, the Big Apple, fame, fortune, notoriety. What in the actual frick are you doing? Blowing the golden opportunity to suck at the teat of the gorgeous green goddess harboring our city, and the goodness is gifted to you to create a life so great that one day you'll look back and think that 20 grand that you fucking stole is worth half a bucket of piss compared to the ocean of wealth and fortunes the greatest city in the world, New York City, chose to literally handpick to give you. 60 years in prison. That's what you're facing. 60 years in prison for 20 grand. Are you kidding me? LT, Strahan, Tuck, Umanora, Haynes, Banks, goddamn legends that'll never have to pay for a freaking meal in this city ever again. And you couldn't see out your first year with the opportunity to succeed at your doorstep, to live free of whatever the fuck the situation was that you found yourself in. My God, DeAndre Baker, get your head checked. What is that freaking noise?
Are you okay? You okay? You okay, Annie? Are you okay? You okay? You okay, Annie? Annie, you okay? You okay? You okay, Annie? You've been hit by, you've been struck by a smooth criminal.
Maybe, hysterical rant aside, maybe everything we have heard or seen in the snippets of what was released in 280 characters was not actually factually totally correct. Now, I get it, I was on a bit of a rant. I'm pretty sure that that's how every Giants fan was taking all the news about Baker over the past week or so. Everyone was losing their freaking marbles because the kid has all the potential in the world to succeed, and he kind of got himself into some trouble, as I kind of mentioned. But, you know, maybe not everything was factually correct that everybody had heard, or maybe that there's different variations and everything that's going on. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we should read articles before we hit retweet and being hashtag mad online. And maybe we should slow down when the news is released and wait for more information to come out, because, you know, knowing what has actually happened, what's transpired over the past week, is probably more important than assuming things that aren't probably correct. You know, there's a good chance that all the news that you heard on day one of DeAndre Baker coming out, it wasn't the full story, and the kid's been absolutely blasted for it. Maybe those affidavits were flipped a little too easily as well. Let's face it, the witnesses that signed these affidavits pointing to him and Quinton Dunbar, those people have flipped and flopped pretty quickly to say that it wasn't actually him. You know, saying something that's completely opposite is probably not ideal for anyone involved. And maybe the video evidence that he and his lawyer have are enough to get him cleared, because it supports DeAndre Baker, and maybe he's already pleaded not guilty to 8 different counts of what he's being charged with. And maybe all of this sounds bogus as hell. And maybe, just maybe, he's the victim of, maybe, who knows, people trying to get to him, and maybe he's telling the truth. Who knows out of all of this? There's a lot of things that are being said and not said, and signed and not signed, and evidence of this and evidence of that, and none of it actually really correlates to making sense now, does it? Maybe the kid's 21, and maybe being 21 you do some stupid shit and get involved in some stupid shit, and maybe, just maybe, at the age of 21 he doesn't have the maturity, which, I'll be honest, that's a major problem for a professional athlete. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Athletes in a vacuum need maturity and a way to release the pressure too. But most of these kids don't have the, now bear with me, what is it called? The actual skills of being an adult. Yeah, I feel it's a little bit hypocritical for people in their 40s to be judging a 20-year-old on something stupid that may or may not have happened. It kind of seems a little off. And, making proper decisions at that age, there's a lot of responsibility. A lot of things can go wrong. And putting yourself in positions to fail, it's probably not ideal, like he has in the last week or so. But again, if all of this information comes out and it's signed away and he actually did nothing wrong, then maybe everyone should calm down just a little bit more than what we know. Everyone's calling for DeAndre Baker to be cut now. That was the first reaction, cut him, right? He should be cut. Now, and the problem for all that is, just to cut him, a lot of people, it's a knee-jerk reaction and people just want to see people get rid of for no reason. But if DeAndre Baker's not being cut, now people are saying for Dave Gettleman to be fired. Because everyone's talking about this culture change. Oh, we're going to get rid of that locker room pest Odell Beckham, which, to be honest, it didn't really seem like it, did it? But if we've got this massive culture change in place, then we can't have places for people to be carried on that keep messing around. Okay, you took a chance on him, you gave up a fair bit to go get him. Gettleman's probably loyal to him. I'd be surprised if Gettleman wants to fire him. I doubt that's going to happen, but it's just one of those weird things at the moment where people are chirping up and saying the most aggressive thing in the shortest amount of time without actually hearing anything. It's probably not ideal. Now, if the Culture Club call-outs are here and if Joe Judge can't make a hard stance either, then what sort of precedence is that setting for his tenure? He's only been the head coach for a few months, right? So there's a lot of people involved after DeAndre Baker gets dealt with. They're talking about getting rid of Gettleman. People are talking about wanting to get rid of Gettleman because of this culture change, or Joe Judge is in a hard spot right now. Listen, there's a stench all over this. It's going to linger for a while. Let's face it. Everyone should just calm down about it. Everyone needs to calm down. My understanding is this. He'll go to trial and plead not guilty, and that's for that to play out. We have no idea. Although when you hear his lawyer say something like, well, we want him to be a Ray Lewis and not a Ray Rice, not really leaving much to the imagination there, is it? But whatever, we can move on from that. But, to say that he did these things will likely be revoked or recanted because the witnesses changed their story. And he also contains the only piece of evidence, video evidence, that he wasn't doing anything wrong. And now it's come out that he was online playing Xbox. He wasn't actually involved. And there's no evidence from anyone else other than the witnesses saying that he didn't actually do it. Wild shot in the dark. I actually think he's going to get off. I don't think he can actually get charged for anything at this point. Now, what no evidence will likely also mean is that he is likely and he won't likely land on the commissioner's exempt list. That list is generally reserved for those who have committed and are guilty for poor behaviours. And if there's no evidence, then that means the NFL isn't going to really punish two players who technically did nothing wrong. They got away with nothing. Nothing happened, right? They didn't do anything wrong. So it's likely an in-house decision that's going to happen. Now, what happens next? It's been said that DeAndre Baker isn't allowed on the team Skype meetings at the moment, and the players have been told not to comment on it all, and that's great. Don't comment. Leave that all away. Now, he's posting videos of himself working out and training hard, and most of DeAndre Baker's contract is guaranteed. And that doesn't expire actually until, 2020? So here we are talking about cutting a player who might have done nothing wrong, only to fire a GM who isn't going to cut a player who might have done nothing wrong, for a coach to bench a guy who might have done nothing wrong except for being in a bad position. This is all in the span of a week. This is absolute lunacy. Now, everyone needs to calm down, step back, and let this play out. That's the only option as Giants fans that we have right now. That's it. No one got hurt. That's above all else. No one got hurt. That's the main thing. Some cash here or there. All right, cool. People can find more cash. You'll get more cash, whatever. But at the end of the day, nothing bad actually happened as such. So let's just thank Baker for not putting himself in a position that could have got really bad really quickly. Not that it isn't bad, but whatever may be will now play out in the judicial system, which is really out of everyone's hands at this point between him and his lawyer and the judges down there in Miami. Now, I could introduce myself. I am the B-League Says. I am here for the Back Row Fantasy Show on behalf of the Back Row Network via the Back Row Studios. No tongue twister today. We're 11, 12 minutes in. That ain't going to happen. Wow. And sorry for being a little heated. You know, this is one of those things where you see things online and people lose their marbles before actually reading and letting things play out. You got to calm down. Just let all the information come to you. Everyone needs to just slow down a little bit. A lot of all this that's actually come out, when you think about it, how our draft took place, we took an extra cornerback here or there, Darnay Holmes, the kid out of Minnesota as well. They're talking about Love moving back to cornerback instead of safety. The addition of James Bradbury, we would have been okay. I think it would be nice, you know, hypothetically, Baker's fine, Baker rejoins the team. It would have been pretty awesome to see DeAndre Baker line up next to James Bradbury. If I had to take a guess how I think this is going to happen, I think they're going to tell him, can't put us in a position like that, change your attitude, back to the bottom of the depth chart, and you got to work your way back up. If he is that good, like first round good, he will do that. And that's only a good thing for the Giants moving forward. We're going to need as many quality assets, moving everything all in the same direction, all hands on deck, moving towards the same commonality, and that is a better 2020 compared to what we had last year. And, you know, hopefully everything works out for him. I think we're all in the same boat with that. No one wants to see anything bad happen to a young kid who hasn't really thought about his future too much in a position as such. Hopefully Dunbar gets the same treatment and everyone can move forward together. It all seems really suspect though, doesn't it? We're all going to change our story from what we gave to the police. And I get it, it's not looking good for anyone, really. Everyone, I can't imagine anyone's actually going to look good out of this. The police down in Florida are going to look stupid. They couldn't hold a witness together. The lawyer's going to look like he's paid everyone off. He's going to look stupid. Everyone's going to see through that. Everyone's going to judge DeAndre Baker on everything he does from here on out. Takes years to build a reputation, seconds to tear it down. You know, he just tore his down, whether he did anything or he didn't. Whether he partook in something or he didn't. His name's muddied by that now. It's going to take years for him to rebuild his name and trust back up. Anyway, what a crazy week that has been. What a crazy week that's been. A complete... It was about a week ago. This was a Thursday last week. This kind of came out, this news. And that's pretty much dominated all the Giants' headlines moving forward. So that about wraps it up. Now, before I wrap it all up, I want to remind you again, if you are interested in hosting your own team-chosen podcast, you can do so. You can get a hold of Jeremy Barker at the Back Road Fantasy Show, Back Road Kings, or Back Road. Get a hold of him. If hosting a podcast for your favourite team is something that you'd be interested in, it's so much fun. Everyone has a ball. We all get together, talk about everything, and we put content together. It's so much fun. I also want you to, if you can, please hit the subscribe button. Throw a few 5 stars out there if you like. No pressure, you can if you like. You can find this podcast on Apple, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, anywhere you can get a good podcast. And you can also check out my articles for the Back Row Fantasy Show. I've got Fantasy Impact up. And I've also got the game plan via Going for 2. But until then, stay inside, wear gloves, masks, wash your hands. And again, the strangers, stay away from them. You'll catch everything. I'm telling you, you don't want to catch anything. And bye for now. Come on, Kill Drive.